Yo, in today's video, we'll be looking at strange and creepy TikToks that are going to make you question everything. What is this? This AI? It's some weird stuff out here. Right, what was that? Why'd they do that? What was the reason?
I don't know if y'all know this or not, but FEMA bases their scale off of Waffle House. If there is a hurricane or what have you, say Miami's store, the one closest to Miami, is open, but Fort Lauderdale closes. Well then, FEMA knows it's bad in Fort Lauderdale, but it's not so bad close to Miami. So they run off the scale of Waffle House. That shouldn't be that way. If there's a severe storm, hurricane, tornadoes, we need to be at home with our families and make sure we're taking care of them and make sure they're protected. We don't need to be trying to serve waffles and eggs to people. Yeah. Y'all want that? Come down from corporate and do it. Let us be with our families.
Straight up. It's definitely something beside the moon right there. Do y'all see that? Yo, that is creepy. Like that sun/moon thing with a face behind it. That's wild. That's a face. That's clearly a face.
Collecting binary codes from the cemetery, dude. This is very interesting. Y'all need to go follow this guy too, man.
Look, guys. Gone in 2021. Wait. It's a wild guess why, but we're running binary codes here, guys.
Get away from me.
Guys, we're right here at the cemetery, and this person was gone in 2023, and we're collecting binary codes. We have both of our phones on airplane mode, so it collects no binary codes at all. But when you get close to her grave, look, you had a number right there. Get close. Look, 2022, guys. Binary codes up the ass right there. There's information coming out of the graves, guys. And doctor, just so everybody knows, because they think. Look, guys, that grave is giving binary codes.
Yo, what's up with the binary codes? Is it about to be zombies popping out? Look at this. Down in Central America, South America. What color is that? That's one of the gods, right?
As you can see, the original peoples. And they did not paint their skin. They were dark complexion.
Straight up.
We know the truth now.
Venezuelan people taking over Humboldt Park in Chicago for a celebration. Streets closed off, traffic non-stop.
They out there kicking it, huh?
Oprah. J-Lo. A-Rock. Will Smith. Alicia Keys. Justin Bieber. Kevin Hart. Mark Wahlberg. Snoop. DJ Khaled. Swiss Beats. Kelly Rowland. Chris Brown. Maluma. Issa Rae. Sierra. Janelle Monáe. Yeah. Lizzo. Megan Thee Stallion. Jay Powder. Naomi Campbell. That's the Jessica Alba. Rita Wilson. Gabrielle Union. Dwayne Wade. Usher. Demi Lovato. Shaq and his whole family. Tracy Ellis Ross. Little Uzi Vert. Sway Lee. Rick Ross. Julian Huff. Diplo. E-Nice. Rhea. Burna Boy. Nicole from the Pussycat Dogs. Alice Cole. Cara Delevingne. Winnie Harlow. Rich Montana.
Okay, friends, so 23andMe, 7 out of 8 of their board members resigned. 7 out of 8. And they resigned because of the CEO's decision to move towards privatization. And privatization just so happens to be my latest hyperfixation Roman Empire. So let me tell you why this is not okay. 23andMe is one of the big players in the biotech world, mainly because of their work with genetic testing. They have the genetic material of millions of Americans. Millions. Which means that if they go private, that information is now given to the highest bidder, which means that they can have access to send you targeted advertising based specifically on your genetic material. Let's say we sell this genetic material, and companies always promise that we won't sell your information, your data will be safe with us. Okay, we know how that goes. They can sell that to insurance companies. Insurance companies can use your genetic data to determine if they're going to give you coverage or not.
Ooh.
Things like that happen in this slippery slope when we start allowing private companies into sensitive areas like healthcare and genetics. And the reason why we want to pay attention to privatization is because we start to lose a layer of transparency when private companies tend to get involved. We also are essentially victim to American corporate greed. It's all dependent on how they are feeling and who knows how that information can be used. So if you are someone who gave your DNA to 23andMe, you want to make sure that you are paying attention to any privacy or data changes coming down the pipeline, and actually read the fine print, Doesn't hurt to read the fine print. Pay attention to healthcare companies and more of these companies going private, because what is happening is a shift towards your genetic material, your information, your data being seen as a commodity and not something that should be guarded or protected with like rigorous ethical standards. Rigorous. It's a product. Welcome to Late Stage.
Yo, I ain't never trust 23andMe or any of these DNA sites, right? People so thirsty to say, oh, I wonder where my ancestors are from and what kind of tribe I'm from. You think if you send over a little piece of DNA that they'll be able to go back and tell you exactly what tribe you're from in Africa? Come on, man. You got to be smarter than that. These people just wanted our DNA. They want to test on us. And here they are now. Everyone's resigning. They're going private. Who knows what they're about to do with that data?
All right, so I'm going to give y'all the 411 on what's really going on. I'm about to put everything into perspective. Okay, so we hear about, Russia bringing a submarine over there to Cuba. A submarine, out of all the ships, a submarine. And then for a good month, this guy has been, talking about this dragon. There's 2 dragons, one at the bottom of South America and then one around Cuba. So they end up banning him and firing him from his job for talking about it. And now we got this crazy hurricane called Hurricane Beryl which is like a green color, by the way. This is the year of the dragon in Chinese zodiac. And then they put up some dragon blow up or whatever around the Empire State Building or some one of those buildings in New York. And then recently, a weather reporter like down there in Jamaica was reporting about the Hurricane Beryl and just said that they released the dragon. But stay around for part 2 because I'm gonna get deep with this. History is about to repeat. And then it's also been 80-foot waves in the Atlantic.
Yeah, man, we might be in for another mud flood.
Yeah, don't cut it. We don't need it.
No habla español.
Sí.
It's already been a
Es
police.
que nosotros nos enviaban a Chicago a hacer el césped.
Nah,
Let me
so you
see.
gotta
Turn
go.
around. Let me see your back of your shirt.
Yeah, don't cut it. We don't need
Again, the same expired fucking fake ass plate. Fuck out of here, bitch.
Different truck.
You the people upstairs breaking in my house upstairs? Huh? Are you the people breaking upstairs in my house upstairs?
Hey, don't be so loud. Come on. Get this truck.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. You can't trust nobody. Who are these people with some random, you know what I'm saying, reflective uniform gear on and some random lawnmowers just knocking on your door talking about, can we mow your lawn? Did I call you to mow my lawn? So what you here for?
This is for educational purposes only. Let's go. What up, TikTok? Did y'all hear about this bullshit that fucking NASA talking about? Supposedly, sometime next week, 25th, 26th, we are supposed to get a new moon that's called a mini moon.
Mini moon.
And it's going to come into orbit because apparently it was a part of, I guess, the asteroid belt or whatever that's around Earth. So it's going to get pulled into our gravitational field, be there until around the end of November, get pulled out away from our gravitational field, out of view, out of sight, just to show back up sometime next year. What? Now, you know we can't believe nothing that they say anyway. But what does that sound like? A mini moon. So it's going to be visible. I guess sometime next week we should be able to notice something else in the sky that's going to be there for a month. Then all of a sudden it's going to disappear and then come back again next year. To me, that sounds like it's something that they know that is coming and they are aware of, and they're trying to disguise it as a moon just to keep the panic and everybody calm. Because how is it just going to come here, chill for a month, say, all right, I'm going to holler at y'all, I'll be back next year, and then just pull back up next year?
You know?
It's either some celestial object that they're trying to disguise as a moon that they don't want us to see, or it's going to be them boys from somewhere else, and you already know who I'm talking about. Maybe they're coming to sit and watch and observe us. But speaking of crazy stuff like that, check out what I caught flying by the moon yesterday. Well, last night. It's pretty interesting. Hope y'all having a good day. I love y'all, and as always, peace!
Oh, snap. You see that? You know, I feel like when people are staring at the moon, that's probably the best time to see a UFO or something, is when you're looking at the moon, because it's like so bright behind. So anything that crosses it, you'll be able to see it. You know what I'm saying? Like versus in the daytime, you can't really look in the sky because it's too bright.
The things that he spoke on in this interview are dangerous. If you're not ready for a revolution, I suggest you don't watch this video. If you don't like the truth and want things to be sugar-coated, this video isn't for you. This is raw and uncut.
Anybody ever seen that video? I haven't.
Have you ever wondered why in Deuteronomy 22:11, the Most High tells us not to wear a garment of diverse sorts, as of wool and linen together, After finding this out, I invested in a bunch of linen clothes for my health. Studies show that different fabrics give off different frequencies that can be measured in megahertz. Organic cotton, for example, has a tested value of 110 megahertz. Polyester has a frequency of 10 megahertz. A diseased or a dying person has a frequency of 15 megahertz. This is why you need to stop wearing synthetic fabrics that are filled with chemicals. Now, wool and linen both have a frequency of 5,000 megahertz. And studies show that wearing these natural fabrics can actually improve everything from your mood to your skin and your blood circulation, and have tons of other wonderful impacts on the human body. Now, what's crazy is, thousands of years ago, he told us not to mix wool and linen together. And studies literally show that when you mix wool and linen together, the two frequencies, the 5,000 and the 5,000 from the wool and the linen, cancel each other out and it drops to zero, meaning you would not get the beneficial frequencies of that fabric. But people don't want to believe in scripture. Come on, man, Yahuwah is amazing. But yeah, after finding this stuff out, I went and invested in some nice linen outfits. Man, this stuff is so breathable and comfortable. And honestly, I do feel a difference after wearing it. This is my first day wearing like pure linen, and I have a whole outfit of pure linen on. And honestly, this stuff is very comfortable and I feel great. I also highly recommend throwing out all of your polyester clothing because it is actually destroying your health and bringing your body to a low frequency, even of that of a dying and diseased person. We were never meant to wear synthetic chemicals on our body. We wonder why there's so many sick and diseased people nowadays. Sometimes it actually just has to do with what we're putting in and on our body. Switch to everything natural. Your body is a temple and your health matters. This is 3 John 1 and 2. Beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. Hallelujah. Barak Yahuwah. Shalom. I'll see you guys in the next video.
Yo, guess we gotta get wool and linen. Get rid of all this cotton.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is now under federal investigation for allegedly decapitating a dead whale and taking the head home.
What is going on, dude? Is there any animal on Earth you won't mutilate? I mean, keep that creep the hell away from Mudang. Now he's under federal investigation for whale beheading, and I have so many questions. I mean, for instance, how do you know where the head starts? I mean, where does the tie go? Does it go like up here, or is it like down after the fins? I mean, the whole animal is a head. And also, I didn't even know the government had an agency for whale crimes. They must have been so happy to get this case. I mean, I bet that morning they were like, guys, I think we're gonna have to shut down. There's just not enough whale crimes to justify our budget, so you're all fired in 3, 2, whoa, wait, hang on, the phone is ringing. Yes, you can be right there. Yes, okay, we might have to rearrange our schedule, but just wait for us. And by the way, if you're wondering how he brought the whale head home, well, it's as gross as you think.
The longtime conservationist allegedly sawed the head off a dead whale back in 1994 after it washed up on a Massachusetts beach. Kennedy reportedly cut off the whale's head and then bungee corded it to the roof of the family minivan before driving it across state lines to bring it back to his New York home so he could study the skull. RFK's daughter, Kik Kennedy, originally shared the fishy anecdote more than a decade ago.
She said every time they accelerated, quote, whale juice poured into the windows.
How can you be in the same family as Ted Kennedy and still have the worst driving story in the family? RFK Jr. keeps saying that vaccines caused his health problems, but hey, maybe you think it's from inhaling car exhaust and Shamu jism for 8 hours?
Oh, happy day. They're restarting the nuclear reactors on 3 Mile Island, also known as America's Chernobyl. We're so excited. And what's that? They're not going to be using it to power homes or electric cars or hospitals. 3 Mile Island's nuclear reactor is only going to be used by Microsoft in a 20-year contract to power data centers that are being used for AI. Oh, and what's that? The reason why this is the only nuclear power reactor being restarted in recent American history is because Microsoft trained AI language models to understand nuclear regulatory paperwork to fill out the 2 million pages worth of documents needed to turn back on this generator that only they will use for 825 megawatts. Oh, and what's that? The company is not going to call it 3 Mile Island. They're rebranding it. Great.
So y'all, true story, Beast Boom, watch this video to the end. Jaguar right might be right. TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's go.
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Crazy.
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next. Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. He lined up D-Haven.
Crazy.
Stole his life and identity.
Wow.
He lined up Big L.
What?
Stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash. Stole his life, identity, and took his love.
Damn. It's not a game.
Lined up R. Kelly.
What?
He wants to be the one.
I'm telling you, son. Shut up! It's not a game out here. Jaguar White is always speaking facts. Where's Hove at? Where's Diddy at? We all know what's going on now. Stop playing with me, son. TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is true. So you see why they got her recently, right? I'm happy that she's out. Because it's not a game, guys. When you're speaking facts and you know, revealing secrets, that should shut up! Then you know what to expect. But I tell you one thing, if I ever see Z in the streets of New York on my block in Brooklyn, I got this.
Y'all know Jaguar Wright's my cousin?
Wait a minute! Who are you?
I ain't even about to sugarcoat this shit. I'ma come directly out and ask a direct question to a direct person. So, Cavell Kavan, are you a Fed? Are you a gatekeeper of some sort for TikTok? Why is it that every time you duet one of my videos and tell everyone to come and look at it, my account gets banned? I thought it was only 2 times, but when I go back and I look, I lost 3 accounts. And every time my account got banned, it was after you posted one of my videos for everyone to go and look at. Now, it's one thing that Data 910 does well. I connect dots. When you give me a dot, I see a situation. You give me 2, you gave me something to connect. But you gave it to me 3 times, and I can no longer overlook that. 3 strikes, you're out. Now, once again, Cavell Kavan, are you a Fed or gatekeeper? Are you the Vlad TV of TikTok? Everyone wants to know. I'm just the only one bold enough to ask it out loud.
Y'all think Cavell Kavan is the gatekeeper?
You say, why can't I tell you, why can't you learn this shit? Because they're not here anymore. I'm trying to tell you, the reason why your people are dead and insane is Night of the Living Dead. They are on automaton. Their bodies are being run. It's in the book, Opening of the Way, Isha de Lubetz's book. Get that book, and they talk about the different levels of the car. Automaton, which is the inferior soul. There's an inferior car, an animal car, and a divine car. And in order for you to function outside of into the divine car, your heart chakra has to be fully functioning. Otherwise, it's in your root chakra, your sacral vertebrae, and you are functioning on an automaton level of automation. But they are functioning on automation because they have ascended. Your people are gone. I'm trying to explain this thing because if you go out there trying to look at educate them on a rational and logical thing, on they gonna get this particular information, you're gonna be around here mad, out there in some underwear, out there on the street somewhere, with some long ass, nasty ass dreadlocks and some long fingernails, crazy as hell because you was talking to a dead people and you couldn't get it. A lot of our scholars have gone crazy because they couldn't figure this shit out. They have ascended. Everything is happening, but it doesn't happen. See the ascension and a lot of stuff that's happening in the spirit world, it can't happen in this world because this is all illusionary phenomena. It wasn't built, you see what I'm saying, to give you certain things that's happening in the spirit world.
Do you think Dick Cheney was talking to the aliens, or do you think he just wanted to make a ton of fucking money?
I think George Bush Sr. was. Junior was a moron. We know that.
Yes.
Junior.
But Dick Cheney, the guy behind the Iraq War,
remember,
who owned...
listen, Dick Cheney worked with George Bush Sr. George Bush Sr. put Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld around Junior. All right? Sr. told Cheney and Rumsfeld, take care of Junior. We have to do certain things. And, you know how Junior is. I need you guys with him. Reagan did not want George Bush as his vice president. He thought he was a total creep, coming from out of the CIA. He'd been former director of the CIA. And he's a 33rd degree Freemason. George Bush Sr. was 33rd degree Mason. And his grandfather was Hitler's financier in America, Prescott Bush. So Bush Sr., yes. Bush Sr., I think, is someone who literally has at some point sat down with these 7-foot-tall Nordic people and had policy planning conversations with them. I wouldn't be surprised at all. When David Grush came out and talked about all these reverse engineering efforts that are underway, right? One of the most interesting things that he said was that not all of these craft were retrieved from crash sites. Some of them were what they now call donations. Okay? Meaning there were cases where we have been handed intact craft. There is no way in hell that a civilization that advanced would volunteer this kind of technology to any stratum of the U.S. government without an extremely detailed agreement having been reached. And that would have to have been negotiated by both sides. And this is one of the most dangerous assumptions that people make, that we're dealing with some kind of ethereal beings that have such a vast cosmic horizon of understanding. It's much more like when colonial elites encountered savage or primitive populations, like when the British Empire or the Portuguese were out conquering very undeveloped societies, right? The people who are flying around in these anti-gravity craft are not any more ethical than British colonialists or Nazi Germans in North Africa. They have more advanced technology. That doesn't necessarily mean they have any more of a sense of beneficence or humanistic ethics.
Yeah, what he's saying is so true. What if these people are evil? Evil genius, the smart one with all the technology, coming here to take over? I'm just saying.
Than any of the colonial elites in our own history have.
The online media outlet known as African Stream has been taken off the air. It's been taken off YouTube, taken off Instagram, I believe, and taken off Facebook. And this is particularly newsworthy for me because it really demonstrates a very, very critical point. We as Black people or African people around the world don't really have any of our own platforms, really viable media platforms, online media platforms that we control, that are controlled by Africans, by Black people. All of the things we use to share our videos, to share our podcasts and our vlogs and our this, that and the other, all of the actual websites that we use and that we depend upon for reach are corporate owned. So YouTube, of course, is owned by Google. We use YouTube, we use Facebook, we use Instagram, we use TikTok. None of those things are controlled or owned by Black people, by African people. The reason that's important is that when you then have a channel, say like African Stream, which is putting out, my understanding is that they put out a lot of critical content with regard to the West in general. And the thing that seems to have particularly got them taken off air was their criticism of the US government's actions in the country of Somalia in East Africa. Now, if you're going to go out, if you're going to be criticizing the West, if you're going to be criticizing Western corporations, if you're going to be using these platforms to criticize the corporations and to criticize the governments and this, that, and the other, then you have to be prepared for those people to turn around and say, well, you're not going to use our platform anymore to do this, and just cut you off. This has happened to African Stream. It's happened to many other web brands in the past. And actually as well, let's be honest and let's be kind of transparent about this. A lot of so-called white supremacists, eugenic oriented people have been deplatformed from YouTube and Facebook too. You know, Twitter or X has become a bastion for these people. That's Elon Musk's prerogative. He can do what he wants to do. X is his. He fronts up the cash so he can do whatever the heck he wants to do with X. And the same goes for Google. The same goes for Meta. This is how it works. Unfortunately, or you might say it's unfortunately, this is how the world works. If you control a corporation or a platform, some kind of infrastructure, if it's privately owned, you can decide what you want to do about it. So what are we to do as black people, as African people in this day and age? Well, it's very obvious. People will say, oh, we need to create our own platforms. That is true. I've been hearing this, I've been on YouTube here since 2009. I've been on the internet, if you like. I remember my youth, there was no internet. Put it that way. And I remember the internet coming up. I was there. We were there. People of my generation, kind of late Gen Xers. We were there, or mid-Gen Xers. We were there when the internet was really coming into the fore. Where were we as black people? Unfortunately, we were just consumers. Consumers, as Marcus Garvey would say. Consumers. Just consuming. Not building. Not organizing our own infrastructure. Not building our own websites even. Not building our own streaming platforms. We didn't do any of that. We haven't done any of that. Africans in particular, obviously, unfortunately, when the internet was in its nascent period, web access in Africa was pretty poor. And this is a sign of our underdevelopment, that even to this day, having reliable broadband, strong broadband access in Africa, wireless broadband access as well in Africa is you can't rely on that. And unfortunately, this is where we are. Here we are, 20 plus years since the internet has been part and parcel of everyday life. And there still is not a strong African-owned platform or black-owned website, even streaming platform that can be relied upon to A, store our content, but also B, disseminate our content. Because that's the most important thing. Like I said, you can create your website. That's fine. There's loads of people have created these streaming sites, but that's the easy part. Just storing videos. That's the easy part. The hard part is putting in the development work to build those algorithms to be able to disseminate the videos far and wide and intelligently in a way that will actually help the reach of these videos to grow. That's what YouTube does itself really well. And that's what we need to do. But, here we are, 2024, and no one's done that yet. From a black perspective, no independently owned platform still exists, viable platform exists. And
well, I can't blame black people or Africans for one. Black Americans, if they do create something, chances are they're going to sell it to a corporation. And I'm sure they have done a lot for YouTube or for Google or for Instagram or for Facebook, but all of their ideas are sold. They're bought out. Same with Africa. I believe that if Africa actually owned Africa, Africa would not be underdeveloped.
The other thing as well I want to say is that we ought to be thinking ahead. We ought to be looking to the questions interesting in which bring you my
going around the ball. Place with start heart line. Normally there are 3 lines in the
I'll see you next time. Peace.
Normally, there are 3 lines in the hands. If you look at your hand and under mine, if you look under my fingers, that's the heart line. That deals with the mental affections of the person, okay? And normally it starts with, there's a place where it starts and there's a place where it ends. Now, the one line that most people start with, and I'll use my hand as an example, is around here, going around the ball of the thumb, is called the lifeline. That denotes the vitality of the person or how well they've kept their digestive tract in shape. All right. And normally it will go all the way around and off sometimes to the curve. Okay. So for example, then, so that's the vitality. That line in the center, that's the headline. That to me is the most important line to look for. So I don't care how attractive you look. If you, that's why Napoleon says the face may deceive, but the hand never, because if that line is any out of its normal track, under, it tells me that the person in front of me is not normal mentally. That's why they call it the headline, the one in the center. So there are two ways where it goes. Each of the lines have a place where they start, and each of the lines have a place where they end. And that's the most important thing. Anything other than that, I don't get accusatory, but I'll just say that's not normal. Then I leave well enough alone while I'm ahead. You see what I'm saying? So there's all kind of ways you do this. So the headline represents the mentality of the person in front of you. Okay. If it's going slightly straight, it means ahead for business. If it's curving downward, it means a love toward the arts. So have a person's where both the headline and the heart line starts off as one. Okay. And then as the person grows, then they begin to shape their own individuality. Your headline is separate, widely separate from your lifeline. So it tells me you came out the gate of life already with a mind of your own. That's what that tells me. Yeah, Mom, Dad, I love you, but I got this. That's what that says, okay? And so sometimes it's when lines are widely separated like that, it means you're independent, always have your own mind, your own way of thinking, and things of that nature. But if your headline, the rule of thumb, it should be slightly spaced. See, if you look at mine, I got a slight space. You got a wide space. So I know trying to tell you something to do, there has been some resistance.
Hey, yo, it makes sense too.
Multiple sources are reporting that Letcher County Sheriff Mickey Steins has been arrested following that shooting at the courthouse. Sources also say Steins reportedly shot District Judge Kevin Mullins in his office at the courthouse. We know several area schools were placed on a lockdown while this was going on this afternoon, and we have a statement just in from the Kentucky Court of Justice saying it is in contact with law enforcement agencies, including Kentucky State Police. The statement goes on to say, quote, "Our deepest sympathies go out to all those impacted by this tragic event, and our thoughts and prayers are with the community during this challenging time," end quote. Here is a statement also just in from Governor Andy Beshear on social media about this shooting. It says, quote, "Sadly, I have been informed that a district judge in Letcher County was shot and killed in his chambers this afternoon. There is far too much violence in this world, and I pray there is a path to a better tomorrow."
Yo, that's messed up though. I ain't gonna lie to you. I really don't trust judges after seeing that show, Your Honor. Anybody ever seen Your Honor? Man, that just puts things in perspective, you know?
We have spent the last 2 days talking to over a dozen offices here in Washington, D.C., both on the House and the Senate side, not only about the UAP Disclosure Act of 2024, which is currently under negotiation in the Senate, but also the Safe Airspace for Americans Act and the general posture that members of Congress have towards the UAP subject. One thing that I can say from every single one of our meetings, especially from those who are focused on national security and foreign policy, is that they take the issue deadly seriously, and they are much more sophisticated about the details than is being signaled publicly. There is a real understanding about the magnitude of the issue, what aspects that Congress needs to focus on, and plans moving forward of how to adjudicate the problem. We were very impressed and gracious for the time the offices gave to us, and there's certainly going to be more movement out of both the House and the Senate as it pertains to the UAP subject.
UFO handbooks. So that's who they was passing the UFO handbooks out. You know, they had a whole little act. I guess the UFO thing might be real. You know, we might be seeing some unidentified flying objects in the near future, and they might be coming into contact with us. I don't know, but from the looks of things, it looks like that's definitely going to happen here soon, especially with this new moon coming into our orbit, which is just crazy to me. But yeah, guys, these are some of the most creepy and strange TikToks that are out there. If you like the content, don't forget to subscribe, turn your notification bells on, and until next time, YouTube, peace.